Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
I'm here to save the day. I'm here to save the day.
Soon I will be invincible. Because comics. Welcome to Because Comics. This is episode 25. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host, the dual-wielding Mike Christensen.
Snicked.
You pulled Wolverine claws out.
That's right. From where?
I'm gonna be honest, having those jut out from your ribs, I feel like it's gotta do more internal damage than actual defensive.
Where would you keep them?
That's true. Ribs is literally the most anatomically correct place to keep Wolverine claws.
You've got the holders for them. Like the individual holders. You've got the ribs to separate them. It's just like, it's ideal.
And I forgot you kill people with hugs. That's right. You just come up and you hug them and then just snick.
Just like in X-Men 3, when that guy does it with those spike powers.
Anyways, guys, like we do every episode, we have our pulls from our pull list. So my pull this week is actually The Phantom.
The Phantom.
Written by Brian Clevenger and drawn by Brent Schoonover. Now, Brian Clevenger, if you might recognize that name, is a writer well known for working on Atomic Robo, actually creating Atomic Robo.
Yeah, one of the creators, yeah.
He's hilarious. He came up with the term action scientist, I'm pretty sure. And when he came over to doing this piece for King under Dynamite, so it's the King run under Dynamite Comics.
Now, for some of us, like, I know there was a movie of The Phantom. Obviously, I know it's much older. I think
Guys, are you telling me not everyone saw the Billy Zane The Phantom movie?
But that's the thing we should actually say. The Dynamite new line, the King line, is
it's Mandrake the Magician, Flash Gordon,
the Phantom,
and the Phantom,
and Prince Valiant.
And Prince Valiant, right. He fits perfectly into that
He's
group?
a weird fit. That's the interesting thing, is he is not of that era.
They're like, who else do we have? We got, Prince Valiant. Perfect.
Sure, makes sense.
Yeah. So, like, the Phantom, for anyone that doesn't know,
Yeah.
there are only 4 things you need to know about the Phantom before going into this book. First, the setting. It's now, sort of, but you see a space emperor knocks back technology by 100 years, so you can still have, like, old-timey stuff, but in now times...
Right, because, like, the line is sort of spinning out of this miniseries,
right,
which I haven't read. I still have to read it. But I think in it, Ming, the merciless, the Flash Gordon villain, shows up and, like, destroys the internet?
Yeah,
I think
that's the thing. They even reference it. They're like, yeah, we used to have the internet. Now we have the network, in quotes. Like, it's just this thing where people, like, pass notes and stuff.
So it kind of lets them be modern, but also have
old characters like the Phantom, like Mandrake the Magician.
And have them make sense in our current environment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the other thing to know about, so that's the world in general.
Mm-hmm.
Where does the Phantom take place? In Bengala. It's this place in Africa. It's like kind of their own made-up land. It's like very mystical and very like, ooh, like haunted. Now, the Phantom himself, he's a superhero. He rocks a purple suit in the jungle, you know.
Purple skin-tight suit.
Taking advantage of all that camouflage. And he wears, on top of this, he wears pirate pants. Like the classic striped pirate pants.
I forgot about that.
And like knee-high boots. It's pretty great.
Oh, the Phantom.
And the Phantom, like, has been a favorite of mine since I was a kid. I love the Billy Zane, and he just goes around. The Phantom is all about fighting pirates, is what he does.
Really?
Yeah, he just fights pirates. He wears pirate pants, and he's known for fighting pirates and stopping greed and villainy near Bengala.
In Africa and India. That's so specific.
Yeah, very specific place with this character. And one thing I'd like to note is the Phantom for years, I don't know, like, this is a slight undertone, but, like, it's been kind of like a, I don't know if I want to say racist character, but not well-handled character.
Because he's a white guy.
He was a white guy.
Yeah.
For most of the line, he's just been like a white dude hanging out in Africa, saving local Africans.
Yeah, that's the thing you get with a lot of those old, like,
yeah.
It's like, oh, good thing the white man was here, and you're just like, Jesus, man, how did you not realize?
He's, like, rich, and he has, like, a servant guy, and it's just, really wrong. But what's nice is with this new revamp, Brian Clevenger was like, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. So how it kicks off is the previous Phantom has died. Now, this character, the Phantom, is passed down in, like, it's passed down like a line. Like you inherit the title of the Phantom.
Like the Dread Pirate Roberts or something.
Exactly. So at this point, there's been 22 Phantoms. So they've been phantoming forever, killing pirates. And
that was part of the original character. I didn't know that. It wasn't something they just added.
Oh, yeah, they retain all of that old stuff.
Yeah.
This is really just kind of a redoing, right? Mm-hmm. And now the person that inhabits the mantle of the Phantom is named Lothar Kawabi. And Lothar, as you maybe guess, is not a privileged white man.
I don't know, that name sounds super Anglican.
Super Anglican. Lothar is actually a local of Bengala and is there, he's saying, in search of the new Phantom, but I'm sure he's just going to earn the title and all that good stuff. But anyways, he's awesome, he's fun. The book in Bengala, I didn't know this, has like rhinoceros people and crocodile people.
I've heard that.
It's like a normal thing.
I remember that from geography.
That's right. In standard geography classes, this is where the lion people and the rhinoceros people are.
Yeah.
So guys, if you're interested in a man in Bengala running around in pirate pants, skin-tight purple suits, punching people old pulp noir style, and crocodile men, The Phantom, written by Brian Clevenger and drawn by Brent Schoonover, is for you.
And if it's not, if that's something that doesn't sound amazing to you,
you were wrong.
I don't even know what to do with you. Yeah. I don't even know where to start.
It is just all wrong if you're not down for that. Mike, what is your pull this episode?
My pull is also incredibly fun and very strange and very silly. It's a Marvel Comics comic. It's written by Ryan North of Dinosaur Comics fame and other things.
Oh, right.
He wrote the Adventure Time comics.
I've heard that's like a thing, right?
Adventure Time?
People like Adventure Time.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
It's drawn by Erica Henderson. It's fantastic. We are talking about the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl.
The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. I've been so excited to hear about this review.
Squirrel Girl is, as I've commented before, an unbeatable character. She, in her first appearance, beat up Dr. Doom. Mm-hmm. She has since beaten Thanos. She beat up Thanos, I think.
Oh my god.
She is, but that's the joke about her character, is like she just can't be beaten. And she's just this inconquerable thing. Like, she's just the best. In this comic, the whole premise of this comic is she decided she's going to be the best superhero of all time.
Really?
Now,
just even better than she already was.
Yeah, but because the thing is, she's still kind of a C-lister, D-lister. She is literally the Avengers nanny.
She's secretly like this best kept secret of weapon of all of the Avengers.
Yeah, like in this comic, it opens with, we found out, she's been living in Avengers mansion in the attic and didn't tell anyone
the whole time.
Yeah, like no one knew, no one knows this.
Poor Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl and her best friend Tippy Toe, who is a squirrel.
I would imagine so.
And she talks to the squirrels talk back.
Like actually talk back, or just chitter?
She hears words.
Oh.
Everyone else hears chittering, but she hears the words.
Is that an actual power, or are they just hinting at she might be a little crazy?
She's amazing. There's no way she's crazy.
She's just amazing.
Yeah, squirrels are the best. Her squirrels are the best, and they have this network of squirrels that squirrels know everything.
That's awesome.
She's decided that she's going to start doing the hero thing, which means she is actively trying to be the hero tropes. So she enrolls in college, and she's coming in, she's like, now I get to have a secret identity, but like, she doesn't have a mask. She has a little bit of eye makeup and squirrel ears that like she puts on like a little like halo devil horn kind of thing, like little squirrel ears, like a furry. So like, she just takes those off and like no one recognizes her. Partly because no one knows who Squirrel Girl is.
Right.
But also because, like...
She could also look like she's, like, going to a Halloween party every time.
Yeah.
Because that costume's not, like, not a full costume.
Right. I mean, she does have a tail.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is her own tail.
What?
She has a tail.
No, I thought that was a costume piece.
Which is her own tail.
So she actually has a squirrel tail.
Which she pushes up into... She balls it up into her pants.
Was she born with said squirrel tail?
I don't even know, man.
I feel like that, like, identity of Squirrel Girl was kind of more chosen for her than it's like, I wanted to be Raccoon Girl, but I got a squirrel tail.
Yeah, well, she talks to squirrels, too. I mean, there's a lot of that's very specific about her powers.
Interesting.
And then she, like, keeps her tail up in her pants, so she just looks like she has a really big butt, and she's very proud of it. So, like, and Eric Henderson is like, yeah, giving this character a big booty. It's like, and the thing is, too, like, her design, she's got, like, a very different body type than you generally see. She doesn't look anything like Captain Marvel.
Perfect.
But she enrolls in college and she decides to have a secret identity. She's absolutely terrible at it because she's not a normal person.
Clearly. She lived in an attic and talks to squirrels most of the time.
She's carrying around like this, these whole bunch of boxes, and this guy's like, hey, can I help you with those? And she's like, oh, right. Normal people can't carry all these, and just drops them. And she's like, yeah, can you help me? And it's the most awkward, like, you don't know what people are, like what they're normally like outside of costume because you don't hang out with any of them. It's so delightful. And she's just amazing at everything. Oh man, her first fight is with Craven in the well, her first fight's with some just crooks, and she sings the Squirrel Girl theme song, which is Squirrel Girl does whatever a squirrel can.
Of course.
Is she strong? You know the song.
Yeah.
You can kind of...
We all know the Squirrel Girl song, guys. It's been on the radio. I can't get it out of my head.
You can guess the theme.
Yes.
You can guess the tone.
Just the first few phrases, I can get the rest of the song.
Pretty much. But yeah, she fights Craven the Hunter, and it's fantastic, because she starts just like throwing him, she throws him in the air at one point, and she's like, okay, I do need to figure out a way to beat him. And she's trying to think, like, what can I do? And one of the options she thinks about is just keep throwing him in the air forever. Like,
just an option?
Just, maybe I could just keep doing that.
I mean, my arms aren't tired. Will they ever get tired?
Oh, man, the comic's just so much fun. It's just delightful. Guys, I mean, Ryan North is a professional humorist. Like, he is, like, that's what he does. He writes humor comics. Like,
right.
I'm not even sure if I'm explaining how great it is.
I think you are.
Squirrel Girl, guys.
All right, that was awesome. Guys, those were our polls, and now we're heading into our main segment. Mike, take it away.
The question number 26. Riddles. Guys, today we're talking about the question number 26, Riddles, or the title on the cover, Riddler's Romance.
Aww.
Which is not really what the comic's about at all.
What?
It is a Christmas issue,
Aww.
which we are talking about here in April.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We just passed April Fool's Day, which would really be a better time to talk about the Joker. But whatever, we're talking about the Riddler, and we're talking about Christmas. Guys, we're not going to run out of Christmas comics, I promise you. We will have something else.
There's a lot of Christmas comics.
We'll have something else to talk about when Christmas rolls around.
Maybe April Fools.
Maybe April Fools. That is not a bad idea. The question, we haven't talked a ton about him. I guess we did a
The ultimate question or the actual character?
The actual character of the question.
Okay. I'll save this answer then later.
To get into broad strokes, he's a newscaster he's a reporter who is basically moonlights as the question, who is this faceless, trench-coated fedora guy. He's got a gas in his belt buckle that turns his trench coat and hat blue, and his hair from red to brown. So he's less identifiable, and it seals his mask to his face.
It's like a psychokinetic gel or something that he puts over his face, right?
I don't remember exactly what it is.
It's like a specific type of material that
it
he
is,
creates.
because his buddy, his Alfred, essentially, is the doctor who made it, whose name is Aristotle Roeder.
Just Aristotle.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it might as well just be Aristotle. It's Aristotle Roeder or Rodar? I don't know.
Interesting.
But anyway, this issue actually opens with the Riddler in Gotham in prison. And he's talking to all the other criminals about his latest battle with Batman. He's actually got a drawing of it, like a crude child's drawing
Of the battle that
he had, where he's strangling Batman, I think, and he's like taped it to the wall. And then these guards come in. This guard comes in and tells him he has a visitor. You know, Nigma, you have a visitor. His name, by the way, is Nigma, Edward Nigma.
If anyone didn't get it until now, we're sorry.
Nigma's like, oh, it must be Batman. And they're like, no, it's not. And he goes in, it's Commissioner Gordon. And Gordon's like, I assume you're here because Batman sent you, trying to figure out my latest riddle that I left. And Gordon's like, no, I found your riddle. I figured it out. It wasn't really that hard. No, we're releasing you. And he's like, Batman wants to face me himself. And Gordon's like, no, one of the cops forgot to read you your rights, and the DA just doesn't think it's worth the money it would take to prosecute you. Like, you are small time.
Now we know why there's so many criminals in Gotham. Apparently the DA is a jerk.
Well, to be fair, that job is not a rewarding one.
Especially not in Gotham.
What happened to the most famous DA?
That's right.
What happened?
They probably don't get a lot of job applications in Gotham. No? Nobody want to be DA? Anyone. We'll
really?
take anyone at this point.
We'll take literally anybody. But yeah, Gordon says, he tries to convince Riddler to go straight, go back to teaching. And Riddler's like, well, no, I'm a master criminal like me. And Gordon says, you were a minor leaguer with a gimmick. Batman has better things to do than chase a small-time has-been. And Gordon's like leaving. He says, look, Nigma, I know you changed your name from Edward Nashton to Nigma when you started this whole thing. Change it back. Go have a normal life.
Wait a second. Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Did he really change? Was his name originally Edward Nashton?
No, it was originally Edward Nigma because comics. But now they have basically gone back and said, yeah, Enigma. That's not a thing people name their kids.
So they basically retconned his original name.
Yeah.
That's silly.
I mean, the name was silly to begin with.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for the Riddler more than anyone else. Like, the Riddler is someone who is pathological. Let's be fair, Mr. Freeze's name is Mr. Freeze, and there's no getting around it. Like, we can't fix that one. At least with Enigma, we can explain, like, no, Nashton, he was born Nashton. Nashton's a name.
That's a real name people have.
But yeah, Gordon's like, look, man, change it back. Merry Christmas. And as he leaves, Enigma's like, what kind of Christmas tree is soft and fuzzy? A fir tree. Like, he doesn't even blink. He doesn't even stop walking away. Like, he just keeps walking.
He's lost his magic.
Cut to a department store Santa who is swinging a chain and fighting the Question in a department store. It's after hours. Question is carrying a cane because we're going to find out he was recently shot in the leg. Throws it out the window, the Santa's chain. It smashes out the window, and there's a couple cars sitting in their squad car outside, just drinking from a flask.
Okay.
And they're like, oh yeah, broken window. Should we check it out? Nah. Hub City is awful. Hub City is a really just miserable place.
Imagine all those areas, just that surrounding area is just terrible.
Yeah, it's not in the same area as Gotham. It's in Illinois.
Right. And as we all know, Illinois is
It's
terrible.
essentially his stand-in for East St. Louis, East St. Louis, except, with the comic appropriate amount of crime.
Right.
Like the amount of crime you need where some dude's, drug dealing out of Toyland in a Santa's village.
That's a large appropriate amount of crime.
But yeah, so the Question beats up this Santa and calls the mayor's office where a cop named Izzy is holding down the fort because the Question was shot when the mayor was shot.
Oh.
So, this was something that happened recently and is really weighing on the Question. So the only honest cop in Gotham is the one who's in the mayor's office. He's the acting mayor. And the Question calls him and says, yeah, you've got this drug-dealing Santa here. By the way, you may want to send some uniformed officers because these uniformed officers are going to pass out pretty soon and then probably freeze to death, which might be the best.
Third flask?
That might actually be the best if they freeze to death. For you, that'd be the luckiest option. And he's like, all right, fine. I'll send someone over. Question, this is the 5th call this week. You haven't been, going over the line at all, have you? And Question's like, I haven't killed anyone, and as for laws, well, I suppose that depends whose laws you're talking about. The Question goes back to his car, he does the gas, he turns himself into a person, and he gets...
Just a person.
The person takes off his mask, and then he gets held up at gunpoint, beats up the dude with his cane, and he's just, weary. He's just, never get a minute's rest, but...
So we can see that it's just all of this crime, all this extra work, especially limping, I
yeah,
imagine.
Oh yeah, he says
just
it
weighing on him.
He says it out loud. He says, I'm tired, but he can't rest yet. Vic Sage visits the hospital. The Question visits the hospital where the mayor, she's in a coma. She was shot by her husband, who is dead, fortunately.
That's a dark turn.
Yeah,